Well, good morning, my little monsters. Thank you for doing those pictures of your faraway tree lands. They were very, very impressive. I showed them to my brother, and he was like, "Wow, those kids are really creative." So they were really cool. Right, we are on chapter 15, if you can believe that already. At the end of the last chapter, they had rescued Moonface and managed to get him back down to the faraway tree from Saucepan Land by going to see old Saucepan Man and getting him to come and have tea with Mr. What's his name. However, there had been a problem, right? In that Mr. Saucepan had gone back to the wrong place and he came to Joe and Beth and Fanny's house. And that's where we left it last week. So this is chapter 15. The Saucepan Man goes to the wrong land. Mother and the children stared at the strange old Saucepan Man as he came in at the gate. He wore an extra large sized saucepan for a hat, and as he came, he knocked two pans together and sang an old nonsense song that went like this: "Two beans for a pudding, two cherries for a pie, two legs for a table, well, hi diddly hi." That sounds like a very silly song to me. Um, and the last, and at the last hi, he banged on the door with the saucepan. Mother opened it. "Don't make such a noise," she said. "No, I haven't seen my boys," said the old saucepan man as he crashed the pans together so loudly that Mother jumped. Then he caught sight of the children and waved to them eagerly. "Oh, there you are. Moonface told me where you lived." "Whoever is he?" said Mother in wonder. "Children, is this strange old man all right?" "Oh, yes," said Joe, hoping Mother wouldn't ask them too many questions. "Can we take him into the garden, Mother? He makes such a noise indoors." "Very well," said Mother, who wanted to get on with her washing. "Take him along." "A song?" said Mr. Saucepan Man obligingly. "Did you say you wanted a song, madam?" Then he began again, and he crashed his pans together in time to his songs. "Two pigs for the pigsty, two shoes for the horse, two hats for the tigers, pink ones, of course." The children bustled him out into the back garden. "That's a very, very silly song of yours," said Beth loudly in his right ear. "What's it called?" "It hasn't got a name," said the Saucepan Man. "I make it up as I go along. It's quite easy. Every line, but the last one begins with the word two. I'm sorry you think it's silly." He looked a little bit offended. Then suddenly he smiled again. "I've come to ask you all to tea at my cottage." "Will Mr. What's-his-name be there?" asked Joe, who wasn't at all keen to meet him again. "Yes, you better brush your hair," said the Saucepan Man, looking at Joe's untidy hair. "I said, will Mr. What's-his-name be there?" said Joe loudly. "Something in the air?" said Saucepan Man as he looked up anxiously. "Not a thunderstorm, I hope." "No, I certainly don't mean a thunderstorm," said Joe with a groan. "Yes, we'll come, but we must ask Mother first." Mother said they could go, though she still thought that old Saucepan Man was very loud and very annoying. "Good day," she said to him as he and the children went off. He really was the most peculiar sight, but he had such a twinkly sort of face that three children couldn't help liking him and trusting him. They soon came to the magic faraway tree that had and saw that Moonface had thought of a marvellous idea. He borrowed Dame Washalot's biggest washing basket and let it down on a rope. Then, as soon as they were all safely in it, he and Silky meant to haul them up to save them the long, long climb. "That's a really good idea," Joe said, delighted, as they all climbed in. It was a bit difficult to get Saucepan Man in too, but they managed at last, though he seemed to find it most uncomfortable to sit on his saucepans. I'm not sure sitting on saucepans would be a particularly comfortable thing, right? "Up we go," shouted Joe as the basket swung upwards through the branches. It ran very smoothly, and the children enjoyed the strange ride. At last they came to a big branch and they stepped onto it. It was quite near Moonface's house at the top. Moonface was there, winding up the rope, a big grin on his shining face. "Well, how did you like that?" he asked. The Saucepan Man looked at him anxiously. "Cat?" he said. "Another cat? Dear me, I don't know. I hope it won't escape into my land. I've got mice there." "Now he'll go looking for cats again," said Beth. And sure enough, the Saucepan Man began to peer round here and there, calling, "Puss, puss, puss." "Never mind him," said Moonface. "Go on up the ladder. He wants you to go to tea with him in his funny saucepanny house." Come on, Saucepan Man, called Joe. If you want us to come to tea, we'd better go. The Saucepan Man heard. He stopped looking for cats and ran up the ladder. And with a bound, he was through the hole in the cloud and right above. And no sooner had he gone out of sight than he began to yell, "Ow, ow, 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 wow, wow, ow." Children listened to him in alarm. "Whatever's the matter with him?" said Joe. Crash, bang, clash, smash. "He sounds as if he's rolling about on all his kettles and saucepans. What can he be doing?" "Ow!" shouted Saucepan Man above them. "Stop it! Stop it!" "Someone must be attacking him," cried Joe. He leapt up the ladder. "Come on, everyone. We'll soon send any enemies off." He shot up the ladder, followed by Beth and Franny and Moonface, and they clambered all through the hole in the clouds and stood in the land above. But oh my goodness me, it was no longer the land of the Saucepan Man, that tiny little cloud-edged country. It was another land altogether. "My land is gone," shrieked the Saucepan Man. I didn't know it had. This is somewhere else." "Oh no," he said. No wonder he said, "Oh no." The bit of the field that he was standing on suddenly gave a shiver like jelly, and then it tipped itself up so it made it a hill, and Saucepan Man rolled down it at top speed, his pans clattering like cymbals. "This is the rocking land," said Moonface in dismay. "Quick, come back to the ladder and get down the hole before we've forgotten where it is. Hey, Saucepan Man, come over here, back to us." "Bus, did you say?" shouted the Saucepan Man, picking himself up and looking around. "I can't see a bus, but I'd really like to catch one." "Come here, to us, to us, to us," cried Joe in despair. "The hole through the clouds is here. We must get back again, quickly." The Saucepan Man began to run downhill towards them, but the ground all too suddenly tipped backwards, and he and the children and Moonface found themselves running downhill away from the hole in the clouds where the precious ladder was. They tried to stop. They tried to walk back up the sudden hill, but the land tipped all the more, and in the end they couldn't stand up but had to lie down. They began to roll downhill, and how they rolled! Over and over and over and over, with the Saucepan Man making a dreadful clatter with all of his pans. "Ow, ow, ow, ow!" cried everybody. "We've lost the hole," shouted Joe. But before he could say any more, he bumped into a bush that knocked all the breath out of him. Soon everyone lay in a heap at the bottom of the hill and tried to get back their breath. "Now we're in a fix," said Beth, dusting herself. "What a very tiresome land we've gotten into." "Does it do this sort of thing all the time, Mr. Moonface?" "Oh yes," it said. "Oh yes," Mr. Moonface said. "It never stops. It heaves up here and sinks down there and rocks to and fro and gives sudden little jumps. People do say there's a giant just underneath, trying to throw the land off his back." What an interesting kind of land that is. And that, my darlings, is the end of chapter 15. So, we will leave that there for the day. Poor old Mr. Saucepan Man. I think he's going a bit deaf, isn't he, if he can't hear what anybody is saying. He's quite funny. I quite like him as a character. Who's your favourite character in this thing so far, in this story so far? Why don't you send me a message and tell me who's your favourite and why they're your favourite. I'll speak to you guys soon. Love you lots.